Welcome to WildernessMaster.com. I'm Luke Stevens, your Wilderness Master. Today we're going to be reviewing the Ascend backpack series from Bass Pro Shops. We have both the 3300 and the 5400 model here. They're nearly identical except for the actual size, 3300 cubic inches, 5400 cubic inches. So I'm going to put this 3300 aside, it's all gray, and I'm going to cover the 5400 for purposes of the video. It's more colorful, I like it. As we always try to do here at WildernessMaster.com, we like to review gear from a standpoint of not just getting a piece of gear and going, I like this, I like this, I like this. We literally like to take this stuff out in the field. Both of these bags have been out in the field. The 5400 has been on a couple of backpacking trips, weekend, 3-day kind of backpacking trips, and the 3300 has been both on backpacking trips, a little bit of field work with some hunting, as well as I use it pretty regular basis to carry loads when I'm just doing some training for field work. So, to the review. As always, here we like to do the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so we're going to get started. Let's talk about the good first. The bag generally has a good layout. It's a very linear bag. I like it. It has an upper and lower compartment, decent pockets on it in the external pocket area. And it has an integral rain cover down here. Just pop this off, the rain cover will come over the top of the bag. And from what I've seen so far, the suspension system on it has been fairly serviceable. I've had loads up to 90 pounds on this suspension system, and I really haven't had any problems with it collapsing, giving way, or otherwise, failing under those loads. Now, let's move to the bad really quick. There are a few bad things about this bag. The pockets are small on the outside. They kind of scrimped on some of the rain skirting that you put on the top of this. In addition to the small external pockets, this bottom compartment down here, well, it's only going to hold a early season to summer type bag. It's just not big enough to hold more than that. And then you got kind of this wonkiness with this strapping system down here. Short straps, mainly designed for the vertical here, and unless you're putting a sleeping pad or maybe your tent on there, they're really not serviceable for much. And given the fact that you had a small compartment down here, I would have thought they would have gone ahead and given you some long straps down here, but they didn't. As you can see, that's basically wrapping around my hand, and there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to put down in this bottom compartment. The next bad thing about this bag is the suspension system on it. The straps, the waist and the shoulder straps here are thin in their load capacity. In other words, they're not too wide. So when they grab into your body on the waistband pad here, they're not going to grab your hips really good and support a lot of that load. And on the shoulder strap, they're going to cut more into your shoulders. You'd think that they would have offset that with generous padding. They have a moderate level of padding. On the front of the waist pad here, there's a little bit more than there is on the back of the waist pad. But otherwise, they're kind of thin for a support system. You get above 40-ish, 50-ish pounds, and you begin to feel it with this load-bearing system on here. Now, to the ugly. We always try to look at things from a serviceability in the field and functionality in the field and failure in the field. And when we get to the ugly this time, that's where we have a failure point. The plastic suspension points on here, whether they're clips, whether they're torsioning straps, or whether they're, I can't find one in here right now, but there's some tie-down straps, are very thin plastic. You can see that's my fingernail, about 3/4 of an inch. So this is about 1/4 of an inch here. Very narrow. I suspect that if you take this out in the field, good amount of weight for a long period of time, you may be getting some of these breaking off and failing. What we have found, that hasn't happened to us yet, but what we have found is that these straps or these tensioning points and connectors will bind up. So when you try to release it, it doesn't want to release until you take some of the pressure off it. In addition, the webbing here, very narrow, very thin. Very narrow, very thin. that is prone to abrasion, breakage, binding inside of the connectors that they're connected to because they want to roll. There's not much mass to them. We don't like either of those. The other ugly that we found with this bag is the sewing on it. So there's a top holding strap here that is on both of the bags, and on the 3300 we've actually had it fail from the sewing point right here and completely this top holding strap pull off. In addition, when we've had the heavier loads in the 3300 bag, I've noticed some of the stitching along the bag components has begun to separate and looks like it's failing under tension. So the two uglies are the connectors and the stitching points. One final thing that we just don't like, and I'll tell you up front, we are zipper zealots here at WildernessMaster.com. I love zippers on gear that you take to the field. It's quieter than Velcro, it's better than snaps, but what we're finding oftentimes with the manufacturers out there today is they are scrimping on zippers, and they do things like this. They put these little narrow, crazy thin zippers with really small teeth on here. And these type of zippers right here are extremely prone to failure. Any dirt gets caught in there, they won't lock up, or a piece of dirt will get caught in there and you'll get a pooch like this so that the zipper will start separating in both directions. And in general with these smaller zippers, you start putting loads on them, they're going to separate. That's just finger load right there and it's separating. This is a mixed bag of zippers. We have compartments like these outer compartments and a few of the other ones that have the thin zippers, and then we have a side opening compartment here and this bottom opening compartment that has a bit more of a hefty zipper to it, but still it's on the low end of marginability from a zipper standpoint. So how do we think about this bag? Well, if you're beginning backpacking, if you're going out for light day to 2 day to maybe 3 day trips, loads between the weight ranges of 35 and maybe 55, 60 pounds upper end, early season, or either you don't have to have sleep systems that you're carrying with you, this is a great bag. I don't see that the pros, the bad and the ugly, outweigh a purchase of this bag. In fact, when you look at the price point, which is $130 to $140 for the 3300 at Bass Pro Shops, and $140 and $150 for the 5400 at Bass Pro Shops, I think they're an above average purchase. We do feel like that if you're doing serious work with these, whether it's backcountry hunting where you've got heavy loads or you're going to stay for extended periods of time, that's a not recommended for those types of purposes. But generally, we recommend this product. It's a bang for the buck. It's a good bang for the buck, and we like it here at Wilderness Master. We got to, we used to, and we'll continue to use to. So that's the Ascend backpack, 5400 and 3300 from Bass Pro Shops, and this is Luke Stevens at WildernessMaster.com.